Hiya, and welcome back to Echo, where today we're actually doing something a little different. If you remember up here on the lake, we're just going to go in here and then go right there. We're going to go through the epilogues a bit. We're just going to do that for today because I imagine it might take a while. Well, what's this? Oh shit, it's the CGs. Yeah, no. Flynn, that one CG for Flynn was jank as fuck. Okay, let me actually check something real quick. Okay, so let's just get started. Date. January 2010. Okay. What makes a good date? Chase told me dinner and a movie. Personally, I felt like having the dinner half of the date at my house would have been really nice. I mean, it's cleaner than any restaurant you might find in Peyton, and my mom's a great cook. Wait, are we playing as Leo? Still, I can tell by the way Heather has her head down that she's really unhappy. I feel a sort of sinking feeling in my chest. It's sort of set the mood for the night so far. Mom drives us to the movie theater and I start to get restless, noticing how late we are. The movie is supposed to be really good and it takes place in space, which is my favorite. Mom tells me not to worry though, since previews usually fill the first 15 minutes. Finally, park and I hop out the car and hold open the door for her. No, I think we're playing as Carl. I notice that she's taking her time getting out, so I wait for her as Mom goes in to get the tickets. Why's your mom coming? Her voice is a whisper. I reach out to shut the door, but she does it herself, a little harder than she needed to. I stand there for a second, not sure of what to say. No, we're playing as TJ! Well, it's really hot out. Staying in the car would be too... Never mind. Heather stalks ahead of me, and I feel that sinking feeling again. It's only now hitting me that bringing Mom was a bad idea. Not that I told her to come. Mom sort of just invited herself. Chase gave me a bunch of tips on how to make the date go well, but he never said anything about parents. Maybe it was so obvious that he didn't think he had to tell me. That thought just makes me shrink into myself even more, and I can feel my face get hot. I push my paws into my pockets and follow after her, trying to keep my ears upright. Mom's really nice and sits about 5 rows behind us, but Heather still seems pretty angry about it. She keeps moving her sitting position, folding her arms and making pouting faces. Each time she sighs, I feel myself cringe just a little more inside, and now I can't even focus on the movie. After about 30 minutes, she adjusts her sitting position again and knocks some popcorn into my lap. I lean over to her, whispering, "What's wrong?" She shrugs, keeping her eyes on the movie. That's right, I have him as a source. I literally just have to press like one button in order to have him spawn. Where's my... I lean back in my seat, again trying to keep my ears up, especially with Mom behind us. The drive back home is pretty awkward. Mom goes on and on about the movie and what she thought of it, which is fine, because I can tell Heather isn't in the mood to talk and I have no idea what to say. As we drive back into Echo, Mom looks back at us. "Alright, Heather, would you like me to drop you off at your house?" Actually, me and TJ wanted to talk about a few things. Would it be alright if I stayed over for a little while longer? Sure thing! I look over at Heather, but she doesn't look back at me. I have no idea what she's talking about, and I think I'd rather not find out. There's nothing I can do, though, so when we pull over in the driveway, I quietly get out and follow Heather into the house. "How's the movie?" He says it without looking up from the TV. "Oh, it was great, Mr. Hess. Really cool." She's using that weird, sweet voice she puts on for my parents. Yeah, a lot of fun. I follow after her. Good, good. He doesn't even try to sound interested as he keeps watching the hockey game. Heather's already sitting on my bed when I walk through the doorway. She's got her legs behind her. She's got her legs crossed, paws resting back behind her on the bed. I stand there awkwardly, trying to figure out what to do as she just sits there and doesn't say anything. Do you want to listen to some music? I turn to my dresser, grabbing my small stack of CDs and shuffling through them. I skip over the Christian rock albums, feeling my ears burn a little at the thought of her seeing those. Oh, motherfucker, just running. Shit. I end up picking out a Cherry Loom album my dad gave me a few years ago when he was trying to get me into classic rock. Heather still hasn't said anything, and I feel myself sweating a bit as I put the CD in and turn it down low. It's that same music from the bus. Finally, I turn around and see that Heather hasn't moved from her spot on the bed. She's just been watching me the whole time. I twitch an ear and scratch behind my head, laughing to cover my nervousness. What's up? She gestures with her hand toward the doorway. Shut the door. Okay. I know my mom would probably get mad, but I do it anyway, trying to close it as softly as possible so my parents don't hear it. That's when I hear the bed squeak behind me. Turn around and Heather is right in front of me. Oh! I jump back and bump against the door. Heather giggles and moves closer, and I can feel her breath on my face. She reaches out and rests her paws on my waist, then slides them up, pushing up my shirt. Her paws on my bare fur now. Oh, wow, okay, I have no idea what to say or what to do. Heather just giggles at me again, pressing her fingers through the fur to my skin, and I can feel her paw pads against me. I look down and see that she has my shirt pushed up above my belly button, and she's starting to rub at the white fur that's been exposed. No one's ever touched me like this before, and I know I'm supposed to like it, but I don't. It's almost like I've jumped into ice-cold water, and now I can't breathe. I open my mouth, and I think I'm about to ask her to hold on, but that's when she kisses me. It's awkward, and her bottom lip presses up against my teeth while she pushes me back, banging my head against the door. I can taste the butter from the popcorn still on her lips. She huffs into my mouth excitedly as she pulls me away from the door and pushes me down on the bed. Wait, Heather! My voice is quiet as she pushes me all the way down so I'm flat against the bed, my legs dangling off the side. She's really excited, and it kind of scares me, her eyes wide and her breath coming in loud huffs. I grab at her wrists and she pushes my shirt up again, but this time she does it all the way to my neck. She leans down and I gasp as she presses her cold nose up against my stomach. She's so confident about what she's doing. Has she done this before? She nuzzles lower and presses a paw against my crotch. I sit up fast and push her back. Heather, let's stop. I quickly push my shirt back down. Heather stares at me, then awkwardly stands back up, folding her arms. You weren't enjoying it? I keep pretending to adjust myself, having no clue about what I should say. No, it was okay. I'm just not ready is all. I know that sounds really cliche, but it's the truth. I finally lose the battle with my ears, and they lilt off to the side of my head as Cherry Loom plays softly in the background. Alright, I should probably get going anyway. But she doesn't move. She stands there, like she's waiting for something. I'm still too stunned to really know what to say. Do you need a ride home? That's the best I can manage. She sighs again before turning to the door. No, it's alright. It's only a few minutes away. See you on Monday. Oh, okay. I get up awkwardly to walk her to the door, but she's already gone. I sit there on the bed for a while, hearing the rumble of my dad's voice for a bit before I hear the front door open and close. Then I hear some footsteps up the stairs and my mom sticks her head around the door frame. Everything okay? Why aren't you walking her home? She told me she wanted to walk alone. I feel my ears droop lower. Oh, alright. Mom's about to leave, but then she pokes her head back from the door frame. Well, your father and I are watching TV. Why don't you come down and join us? That actually sounds nice, and my ears perk up a little. Sure, I'll be there in a minute. Okay. She smiles at me before pulling back from the door frame. I watch the doorway for another minute, then sigh and lay back again. I cover my face with both paws, rubbing my forehead. I'm so bad at this stuff. Why did I even try? That's when my phone buzzes and I take it out to see a text. Chase, how's the date? I stare at it for a second, then on a whim, press the call button with my thumb. He picks up after the second ring. Hey, biatch. Your date over already? Hey, Chase. What's up? I can hear him adjust the phone, and his voice drops the lisp. I hear Leo's voice in the background, muffled. That TJ? I start to massage the bridge of my nose, closing my eyes against the room's light. Yeah, the date's over. It was okay, I guess. Are you asking me? How was it? I wait a while, listening to the white noise on the other end. I can hear some music in the background. I wonder if they're in Leo's car. Chase, how did you know you're gay? Wow. There's some silence on the other end before I hear a burst of laughter. I flatten my ears, feeling my face blush all over again. I don't say anything, though, and just wait for him to get it out of his system. What did he say? Leo sounds really close now, like his muzzle is right up against Chase's. I hear some more adjusting of the phone going on before Chase finally responds. Sorry, I just didn't expect that. Are you on your computer? Yeah. I get off my bed and walk over to my desk, waking my computer up. Okay, go to the website Thick Fur. I type it into the URL and press enter. Immediately a buff fox with no clothes on pops up. He's got his paws on his privates and he's sort of pushing them up. There are a bunch of other pictures too, but I don't have time to process them as I jump and close the browser. Dart my eyes behind me, half expecting to see Mom and Dad staring around the corner, their eyes wide in horror. Chase! So are you hard? What? No! Then you probably aren't gay, TJ. You like looking at boobs, don't you? I pause. Well, wait a minute. Don't you? Well, not really, I guess. This isn't you being all Christian, right? No, I'm fine with this stuff. I just haven't really given it much thought, I guess. I guess you could be asexual. Ah! Leo, stop it! I can hear the phone getting bumped around again, and I think I know what's going on. What are you guys talking about? His voice is playfully accusatory, and I can hear some more shuffling with the phone as, I assume, Chase tries to move it away from the wolf. Alright, TJ, I'd better get going. I'll talk to you more about this on Monday, okay? Okay. Later, Tej. Leo's voice is muffled. Leo's voice is muffled, like he has something in his muzzle. And listen, TJ. He sounds strained. Heather is... don't worry about it. Heather is, well, she's not that. It's just not a big deal, alright? Okay, I'm gonna go. Talk to you later. See ya. I hear Chase start to snap something at Leo before he hangs up. Shit, chicks are still running. Okay. I drop my phone on the bed next to me and close my eyes, tempted to just fall asleep right then and there. I feel better, though. Chase always has a way of making things seem alright. He offered doing a double date with us, but Heather didn't want to, so it didn't happen. It would have made things a whole lot better. I start to wonder what Chase and Leo might have been doing. He was probably nibbling Chase's ear. Leo does that a lot, in front of us too sometimes. I actually think it's kind of cute. When the paw drifts down to my crotch, and for the first time in the past few hours, I feel something hard. TJ? I jump as I hear my mom call from downstairs, jerking my paw back. Coming! I quickly sit up and slide off the bed, going downstairs to watch the rest of the game with my family. Oh, wow! Okay, where the fuck are checks still running? Okay, next up, Runaway. May 2010. The sun has begun to set. If I want to avoid Dad and Jeremy, I'll have to leave soon. I take another look around my room just to make sure I haven't missed anything. With my bookshelf empty and all the clothes packed away, it feels a little bleak, gloomy. If not for the poster still hanging on the walls, you'd be forgiven for thinking no one had lived here at all. It reminds me of one of those TV shows where they explore abandoned, haunted buildings. And while this place isn't particularly haunted, at least as far as I know, plenty of terrible things have happened here. Part of the reason I want nothing more than to leave it all behind me. I zip up the duffel bag, not particularly easy with my paws trembling so much, and I take my phone out of my purse, reading Chase's messages again. He says he'll be waiting at the diner. When I ask if Leo will be coming along, he replies with an emoticon shaking his head. Figures. I hoist the duffel bag over my shoulder and waddle towards the door, snagging my necklace, the one Jeremy gave me, off the nightstand along the way. I put my ear to the door and listen for any signs of my family before even thinking of opening it. Usually I can tell when they're home by the shouting and screaming of Dad and Jeremy's daily arguments, but I want to be sure. Once I'm sure the coast is absolutely clear, I open the door and start walking. First out of my stuffy room, then out of the hallway, then out of the house. I lock the door and put the key under the doormat, looking over my shoulder at the house where I've spent the past 17 years of my life. It's just a house to me, not a home. Hell, school feels more like a home than this place does. I expected to feel regret setting in about now, but I can only grin like an idiot. Simply walking out that door feels like an achievement. I don't think I've ever felt this kind of a rush before. I'm free. I'm not going to become another Janice, working a mindless, soul-sucking job while sighing to everyone who'll hear. Not listen, because people in Echo never listen, about what could and should have been. I'm going to college, on the other side of the state, far away from this dusty, dried-up shithole. I'm aware of the consequences, of the potential problems that could await me, yet the pros far outweigh the cons. I run a finger over the gemstone in the necklace and feel a pang of guilt in my stomach. Jeremy will have to deal with Mom and Dad all on his own now. And while he certainly hasn't made my life any easier, he doesn't deserve that. Nobody does. If it hadn't been for Clint, it might have turned out alright. But I've made up my mind. And so I head towards the diner, struggling to keep myself upright, duffel bag in one paw, my purse in the other. And while people walking around with shifty-looking bags at night isn't an uncommon sight in Echo, I stick to the shadows regardless. I try to resist the urge to look over my shoulder every 3 steps. Jeremy could be hiding in every shadow, or so my mind tells me. I feel like a child again. I really shouldn't have packed this much. These bags are way too heavy. After nearly tripping over several rocks, I can finally breathe a sigh of relief when the familiar lights of the diner come into view. On the other side of the road stands the motel, a lone car parked in its parking lot. Even as a dot in the distance, I recognize it instantly. It's Chase's parents' car. I walk over as fast as I can on these heels. Chase is leaning against his car, his face illuminated by the light of his phone. Once he notices me walking towards him, he slides it into his pocket. With his paws still in his pockets, he walks to the edge of the parking lot. The motel's parking lot is quiet and dark, but not unpleasant. It's cooled down considerably, not quite to the point where I'd be worried about catching a cold, but cool enough not to get a heat stroke after taking 10 steps. Let me handle this. He hunches over with a grunt as he lifts my duffel bag from my paws. Shit, Jazz. Did you fill this thing with bricks? I giggle at the sight of him, folding my arms. Just the necessities, really. Clothes, a toothbrush, something to read. He grins. All your manga, too? Most of it. Just the issues I haven't gotten around to reading yet. Maybe I should have filled it with bricks. It would have made for a nice prank. Once we get seated, my duffel bag in the trunk and my purse between my legs on the floor, I look out the window, to the road I took to get here. I catch Chase's eye. Ready to go? He puts a paw on my shoulder. It's warm, and his paw pads are a little damp with sweat, but it's the most comforting thing I've felt all day. I melt into the touch just a little. I nod. As ready as I'll ever be. I lean forward to turn on the radio. One of Chase and Leo's songs, or as Flynn likes to call them, emo garbage with shitty lyrics, starts playing. Probably explains why the car reeks of Leo's cologne. While I don't particularly like the music, it's still miles better than the country music that usually plagues the local radio stations, so I leave it on. Chase wraps his fingers on the steering wheel in time with the beat. When he notices I'm looking, he quickly averts his gaze, messing with the rear view mirror instead. I chuckle. He's cute. A different brand of cute than TJ, but cute. Where's Wolf Boy anyway? Out with the pack? His parents needed him at the shop. He said it was urgent. I thought his parents' place closed at 6. He shrugs. They call him at the weirdest times. I've gotten used to it. Still, he glances at his ankle bracelet, eventually straightening it out so the tiny anchor rests on top of his... Hold up! Let me go back for a quick... Okay, he's not actually wearing a... Okay, I got confused for a hot minute. It's a habit I've noticed ever since they went out to buy those things. Yo, what the earth is going on? You guys okay? He sighs. We've been better. I feel like we've got different ideas about our future, where we're going to take this thing we have once we're done with school. I had a hunch, well, less of a hunch, more noticing they weren't eating each other's faces last time I saw them. Do you want to talk about it? It's no big deal. We'll work it out eventually. It sure sounds like a big deal to me. Have you mentioned it to him? He tilts his head back. It's not just something you can bring up out of the blue, Jazz. If it's bothering you, you should do something about it. It'll just get worse if you don't. I'll ask him about it when I see him. He says it with a tone of finality. The anchor drops from the top of his wrist again. We're on the road now, moving further and further away from the diner and the motel until they're just blots in the distance. If there's one good thing about Echo, I suppose it's the spectacular sunsets. It reminds me of all the evenings I spent at TJ's house, sitting in the backyard with his family, just to watch the sun slowly sink. Sometimes his mother would pull out a photo album and tell me all about where they came from, what nature there was like. Chase looks at me from the corner of his eye. We can stop if you'd like. If you want to say goodbye. I'm fine. My response is a little snippier than I would have liked. I make the effort to soften my voice. You can keep driving, Chase. Alright, I'll have to stop for gas when we get to Peyton, though. I promised my mom I'd fill up the tank. I don't mind. I reach into my purse and grab my wallet, but he raises his paw. I'll pay. Don't worry about it. Are you sure? I mean, you're going all the way out there for me. He smiles. Seriously, don't sweat it. It's hard to do, given the gravity of the situation, but it's a smile I'll gladly return. Thanks, Chase. That's what friends are for, right? I take my phone out of my purse. Dad's calling. He probably got home and noticed I wasn't there. The fur on the back of my neck prickles as I look at the screen. I'm tempted to pick up. The song playing on the radio has stopped registering. All I can hear is buzzing. Finally, I shake my head and hit the ignore call button, thrusting the phone back into my purse, taking out a manga instead. I'm not listening to anything he has to say anymore. What was that about? Dad called. You haven't even been gone that long. He stops wrapping his fingers on the steering wheel and eyes me nervously. It reminds me of TJ a little, the way his fur bristles whenever something catches the lynx off guard. You think he knows? I flip through my manga, taking out my bookmark. I don't know, and I don't really care. I start reading. In a town as dull as Echo, manga and anime have always filled the void pretty nicely. They've been an escape for me, a gateway to cultures and countries beyond this nothing town, places where I don't have to deal with my family. Strangely enough, I never got into Western comics much. Carl got me one of those collector's edition comics for my birthday once, but I sort of gave up on it when I haven't finished it after a year. Mental note to get back to that one soon. Why is it still checking? The gas station between Echo and Peyton is a perfect representation of the miserable state Echo is in. It's old and decrepit, to say the least, and what little staff it has consists mostly of junkies saving up for their next fix. Usually they get it from the dealers that show up at night around here. If the gas wasn't the cheapest around, I doubt it'd see any customers at all. Most people already try to avoid it whenever they can. This place gives me the creeps. Looks like it came straight out of a horror movie. It does. I smirk at him. Do you think there's any spiders around? He turns to me, an interesting mixture of fear and frustration etched on his face as his muzzle opens, only to close again, like a fish trying to get some air. Don't even joke about that. There's probably some really big ones. I walk my fingers up his arm to the back of his neck, then pinch him. Boo! Jasmine! He swats my paw away with a yelp. Stop it! I laugh. I swear, TJ keeps it together better than you sometimes. He snorts. Only because you go easy on him. He's not wrong. The one time I played a Chase caliber prank on TJ, he'd spent hours crying in his room afterwards. It was the only time I'd ever seen his mother legitimately angry. A stark contrast to her usual sunny disposition. Not much scares me, but that was a frightening experience. Hey, he's been through a lot already. I don't want to scar him for life. He raises a brow. But I'm fair game? Well, I get the best reactions out of you. He sighs. Foxes. I always feel a little guilty about playing into Chase's arachnophobia, or Chase's little spider problem, as his mom always calls it. But he's just so damn fun to tease. The greatest moment has to be when we emptied an entire bag of those shiny rubber spiders in his backpack while he was changing for gym class. I can still remember the look on his face when he opened it to get his lunch. Priceless. Aw, did I offend you, Chula? I gave him a playful pat on the back. He pulls back almost instantly, as if he's afraid I'll do something. Want me to call Leo so he can kiss you all better? The exasperated look on his face is pure gold. If it wasn't so dark, I'd be filming right now. Don't, Jasmine. He starts fiddling with his bracelet again. I think there's only hillbilly serial killers on these parts anyway. Nothing to worry about. After getting another look from him, I lay off, completely satisfied. Chase gets out of the car to pump gas. I look out the window again, to the convenience store. There are a few truckers here, but not much else. This place could use a clean. Shame that most likely won't ever happen, and probably hasn't since, the 50s? The most recent addition to the building is a poster for the Trinity Weasel movie starring Julia Blasco, which came out about 2 years ago. I think TJ was the only one who really liked that movie, come to think of it. My stomach grumbles when I notice the sandwiches set out on the counter. I eye the clock. It's about 8 and I haven't had dinner. While I could have grabbed something at the diner, I didn't want to risk Janice seeing me and calling my parents. The sandwiches they sell at the gas station may not be as fresh or as tasty, but they'll have to do. I make a grab for my wallet again, catching my foe's mint buzz. Grumbling to myself, I take it out of my purse. 15 missed calls since the last one I saw. 14 from Dad, 1 from Jeremy. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. To be honest, I can only shake my head in disbelief. Not even half an hour into my little escape attempt, and they're already trying to drag me back to the madhouse. As long as they didn't follow me here, I have nothing to worry about. But I can't shake the thought, the possibility, of them just showing up or calling the police. Or 1,000 other things they'd never actually do. I don't feel like leaving the car anymore. I don't feel all that hungry anymore either. Something light will do. I tap the window to get Chase's attention, then roll it down. Mind grabbing something from the store for me, Chase? Of course not. What do you need? I look up from my manga when he comes back, carrying a small plastic bag with the gas station's logo on it. 1 for you, he says it in a sing-song voice, dangling a strawberry-flavored popsicle in front of me, which I greedily snatch from his paw. And 1 for me. These popsicles come from Carl's mom's company. I've seen eaten them more times than I can count. Back when we were kids, Carl used to boast that we were paying for his pocket money whenever he caught us eating one. Considering Carl's mom would always give us entire bunches of them for free whenever we visited, though. We never had to buy all that many ourselves. You remembered I liked strawberries. That's sweet of you, Chase. I take a whiff of the familiar, sugary, way too chemical scent. Well, it was the only flavor left in stock. Yeah, I did. Better check the expiration date. It might be older than we are. The rest of this place certainly is. I take a little bite. I think it's safe. I'm not dead yet, at least. He laughs, unwrapping his own before producing 2 cans of soda from the plastic bag and handing one to me. That's a relief. Eating popsicles and drinking soda in the parking lot of a run-down gas station sounds rather silly in my mind, but this is really happening. I take another bite. So, have you figured out what you're going to do once you're done with high school? He fiddles with his bracelet again. I don't know. Leo's dad said he might have a job for me, but I don't think I'd make a good mechanic. I've got 2 left paws. I think I'd just destroy any car that came into the shop. Why don't you apply for college? You mean the one in Pueblo? He gives me a quick sidelong glance. That's really far away, isn't it? I don't know, Jazz. I can't just leave Leo behind. You've got your phone. Long-distance relationships are a thing, you know. I crumble up the popsicle wrapper, putting it down in the ashtray. They're actually all the rage these days. I've got this friend who has a boyfriend who lives on the other side of the planet. I turn and look at him. You know, I think you'd be a good fit for college, actually. Smart, motivated. Really? I mean, I'm not all that good at anything, really. I don't know what I'd go for. Maybe journalism or something. I mean, you were in charge of this whole paper last year. You like filming and taking pictures, right? And having a degree is always good. What are you going to major in? He finishes his popsicle, tossing the stick in the plastic bag. I'm going for psychology. Oh, like the inner workings of the mind and stuff? He pantomimes while talking, yelping when he hits his elbow on the steering wheel. I giggle. I suppose, minus the bruised elbow. I want to find out what makes people do things the way they do. So what made you do the thing you're doing right now? His expression takes a turn for the serious. Why'd you decide to run away? For a moment, I'm speechless, all the heat drawing from my body as we look right at each other. I thought he was okay with me leaving when I told him, but now his tone is almost accusatory. It reminds me of Leo. I shudder, remembering the stink guy he'd given me when I told him I was leaving. A lot of things. I brush the fur out of my eye. And I'm sorry, Chase, but most of them are none of your business. I'm the one driving you to your new place. I think I deserve to know what's going on. He frowns. What did they do to you? Did they hurt you or something? None of your business. I grit my teeth. Can we just keep driving, Chase? Please? Jasmine, please. I want to know. If you need someone to talk to, someone who can help, me, Leo, my parents, we'll do whatever it takes. You don't have to do this. You can keep living in... Is that what this is all about? I gesture to the soda cans, the empty popsicle wrappers, and the gas station. Are you just stalling so you can convince me to stay? Jasmine. He puts a paw on my shoulder. I know how you feel, but running away isn't... You don't know how I feel. I smack his paw away. You don't know the slightest thing about my situation, Chase. You don't know what it's like to live in poverty, what it can do to people. And you don't know how it feels when no matter how hard you try to crawl out of that hole, your family will keep piling on even more dirt. I take a deep breath, realizing I'm clenching my fists. I want to live for myself, Chase. I want to go to college. I want to have a future. I can't do that in Echo. It's not the place for me. It never was. It's not the place for any of us. He shrugs. But it's home, you know? It's home for you. It's hell for me. I put my seatbelt back on. Adam's dead. Jeremy's huffing whatever the fuck he can get his paws on. And my parents... I cut myself off. I feel nauseous just talking about them. My parents just keep blaming other people for their own ineptitude. Carl, his great-great-grand, whatever, you, Leo, everyone's fair game. I'm sick of it. Chase gently puts his paw on mine. This time I don't push him away. I feel drained, exhausted. I'd cry on his shoulder, but I don't even have the energy to do that. What they say about Carl. I mean, Leo and I aren't exactly Echo's darlings, but Carl, he's harmless. Apparently his family's the reason we're so poor. Never mind the fact that my dad can't hold a job. Hell, he can't hold anything save for a beer bottle. Shit, I didn't even know your families had a history together. We go way back. It's complicated. The story I'd always been told was that one of Carl's ancestors had his business partner, one of my ancestors, lynched for sodomy to cover up his own crimes. My parents always conveniently left out the part where they were gay lovers, of course, but a trip to the library cleared that one up for me. Not that they cared. My breath slows. I've stopped clenching my teeth. I'm not trembling anymore, at least, which makes drinking my soda a lot easier. Finally, Chase smiles at me. Sorry about all that. I just wanted to look out for you, you know? Everyone's been really worried. I know, and I'm sorry too. I shouldn't have lashed out like that. Did you tell your parents that you're helping me? I told them that I'd be taking Carl and TJ out to see the new Lions Brigade. He puts the keys back in the ignition. My mom's been asking about you, though. That warms my heart a little. Chase's mother is one of the nicest people I know. What'd she say? Just wanted to know how you're doing. If you're eating okay, that kind of stuff. She wants you to come over for dinner sometime. He laughs. Maybe she's still hoping I'll go straight someday, huh? He backs us out of the parking lot. When I look behind me, I see a group of employees crowding around a rather shady-looking wolf. I guess we're leaving just in time. Do your parents not like that you're with Leo? My dad adores him. I think my mom still wants grandkids eventually, but she's been pretty supportive. She just wanted me to be safe. I chuckle. Grandkids? I can't really picture you as a dad. Gee, thanks. He rolls his eyes dramatically. You're as sharp as a box cutter sometimes, you know that? I give a snout playful poke with my finger. Just saying what's on my mind, otter boy. Don't take it too personally. There's a moment of silence before he speaks again. Hey, not to change the subject, but won't your family be able to find you over there? They won't. I've thought of something. What is it? I'm going to get my name changed when I can, once I'm 18. It won't make it impossible to find me, but hopefully it'll keep them off my tail until I can move to Pueblo. As long as I can remember, even before I started thinking about running away, I've wanted to change my name. Jasmine's a name, yeah, but it's never felt like a name that was really my own. It's the one my parents picked for me. I've always felt like it was one of those names you usually associate with trash living in a small rural village. A citizen of Echo. It's not a name you'd really expect or want to see on the front page of a magazine or a research paper. Really? Huh. Yeah, I want something a little more... I bite my lip. A little more me, I guess. What kind of name are you thinking of? In the past, I've considered the names of actresses and singers, from CEOs to scientists. Now, though, I just blur out the first thing that comes to mind. How about Jenna? It seems like a good enough name. Jenna? He chuckles. Thought you'd go for something more ostentatious. Well, I don't want to draw out too much attention to myself, and to be fair, anything's better than Jasmine. Definitely. It's just, it's going to take some getting used to. He stares off into the distance, at the empty stretch of barren land next to the road. Jenna. Doesn't sound half bad, right? Hey, it's your name. What's that supposed to mean? Shoot me a message once you've unpacked, okay? Chase lifts the duffel bag out of the trunk with a grunt. I wobble on my feet once I grab it, rescued by Chase giving me a hug. I struggle to reciprocate it until I drop the bags. It's a little uncomfortable with both our shirts stuck to our fur and it still being warm out, but it's not unwelcome. I nod. Drive safe. Really? He chuckles, pulling back. Seriously, do you see a dent in this car? Sure, that's what you said about your bike too. Right before you fell flat on your... That was 5 years ago. 5 years. We laughed together. It's going to be different without you around. I'll still be around, you dip. Just in a different town. I chuckle. Maybe we can go do something together sometime. We could go bowling. Sounds like fun. I'd like that, but only if you promise not to cheat again. Hey, I beat you fair and square last time. Of course you did, Jen. Fine. I fold my arms. I'll go easy on you. He steps back towards the car. After a short pause, he turns around to wave. I walk up to him once again. Wait. I take Pueblo's university brochure out of my purse. For you. He looks at it for a second, dumbfounded. Summoning some of my courage and a little stupidity, I lean in and give him a peck on the cheek for good measure. If Leo were here, he'd toss me through a wall. Thanks, Chase, for everything. You've been a big help. He just stands there, jaw agape, glancing down at the brochure before looking up at me again. I guess I'll see you around? Bye, otter boy. I grab the bags again, unable to keep myself from giggling softly as he stumbles to the car door, a confused look of bewilderment still etched on his face. He clutches the brochure tightly, and I catch a glimpse of him reading through it before he drives away. When he honks the horn, I do my best to wave in spite of the bags, smiling to myself, all alone in Peyton in the middle of the night. Chase might be the only game Leo ever beat yet, but the odds can still change. With the bags in my paws, I waddle to the old beat-up door and wait for the door to my future to open. Oh my god, the check's finally done. Fuck yeah. Okay, I guess that was Jenna's epilogue, and it was certainly interesting. Let's do another one. Lights. November 2010. I looked down at the cup in my hand again, trying not to make eye contact with anyone around me. Part of me wished I had stayed home tonight, but Sarah asked me to come, and I'd feel bad turning her down. She looked so excited when she mentioned how much effort she and the rest of her Bible group put into this party. She said that after a recent string of storms, the school wanted people to know that there was a severe weather shelter in the basement of the church. At first I thought it was going to be a bland-looking concrete basement, but as it turns out, Peyton's old school gym is beneath the church. It's a small basketball court with bleachers that fold back against the walls and old basketball rims that are pulled up toward the ceiling so that they're out of the way. Sarah and her friends strung up streamers and lights along with all sorts of other party decorations, turning this drab old gymnasium into a pretty cool party room. A disco ball hangs from the ceiling, reflecting lights over the room, while a DJ stands off to the side taking requests for which songs to play. So far, most of the 80s and 90s pop songs. A group of adults stands around the DJ, probably to make sure nothing too risque is played. Almost all of us are standing around talking or avoiding eye contact, save for a few adventurous souls dancing awkwardly next to one another. I finish off the last of my drink and decide to head back over to the punch bowl. I keep my head down, avoiding eye contact as I walk through the crowd. I reach the refreshments table and ladle more juice into my cup inside of myself. I really shouldn't have come here tonight. My parents were out of town for the weekend, and I had to ask Chase and Leo for a ride. I figured since they were already heading to Peyton tonight, it would be alright, but something about their mood made me think I had ruined their night. I told them that I'd try to find a ride home with someone else, and that I'd call them if there were any changes, but they said not to bother. Chase said that they'd stick around and that it's not like they had anything better to do. The way he said it made me realize I'd made a mistake bringing them into this. I can't take my mind off of it now. I tried to make Sarah's night a little better, but ended up ruining Chase and Leo's. Now I'm avoiding Sarah, and I can't help but feel I'm ruining everyone's night. I have to stop myself from thinking about it too much. I bring my cup to my lips and drink just so that I'm doing something, if only for a few seconds. I end up downing all of it and I close my eyes. I focus on slowing my breathing to stave off a panic attack I feel coming on. It takes a few minutes, but finally I can feel my heart rate and my body relax, only to be startled by a hand touching my shoulder. Hey! Hey! My voice is squeaky. She smiles a little at that. I was hoping to find you here. I was looking for you earlier, but I got caught up with Jessica and Amber. Her eyes dart around and she blushes. Would you like to dance? I can't help the shocked expression that I'm sure is on my face, and my eyes dart to the ground. I start mumbling out an excuse before Sarah reaches for my hand and pulls me to the dance floor. The cup I'm holding slips from my hand as I lose track of myself. Everything seems to fade away as I follow Sarah onto the dance floor. She turns to me and pulls me closer and places my hand on her hip. I hope the music is loud enough to mask the gulp I make when my hand touches her dress. Sarah is wearing an off-white sundress with a red ribbon around her waist, and I can't help but stare with how cute she looks. I feel overdressed in my outfit. My mom had laid out my clothes for me before she and Dad left. A light blue dress shirt and tie paired with slacks. Sarah's smile snaps me out of my reminiscing as she waits for me to take the lead. I force myself out of my trance and take a tentative step, right onto Sarah's foot. She squeaks and she pulls her foot away. Sorry. Sarah just giggles at me while my face burns. There are a few more missteps before we get a rhythm down, and I can't help but feel kinda good about myself. At least I still have a chance at making Sarah's night and not completely ruining it. Her smile seems to have a way of relaxing my nerves, and soon enough, I'm smiling back at her. The next song is a faster tempo and we let go of each other. Sarah shakes her hips and moves her body to match the beat. I fumble, not knowing what to do with my hands, so I start to copy Sarah and hope she doesn't notice. We dance together, laughing and occasionally singing lyrics to songs we both know. Every now and then, we bump into each other, which forces a few laughs out of us, although I'm suspicious that she's doing it on purpose. Before long, the tempo of the music starts to slow, and we find ourselves slow dancing once again. Sarah pulls herself closer to me, this time until our bodies press together. She looks me in the eye and smiles warmly before putting her head on my shoulder. My body tenses and I can feel her breath warm against me. I can feel her body press into me as she hugs me tighter. It feels nice. In that moment, I realize just how much Sarah enjoys my friendship. I feel like she trusts me. It's been so long since I felt this comfortable around anyone. Not even Jenna or the others make me feel like this. I haven't felt safe around anyone in such a long time, even my own friends. But with Sarah, it's as if I could let my guard down. I feel like I could do no wrong to her. I gently pull her into me, letting her embrace and smile, turning her embrace and smile. Unfortunately, my body reacts to this in the worst way possible, and my smile fades as I feel my pants getting tighter. We start to step out of sync, and I can feel her torso grind against me. I can feel her press into my hip, feel her press her hips into mine. I tense and try to pull my hips away, but that only succeeds in making matters worse as the angle changes and I can feel myself bumping into her. Oh my god! Sarah's hands travel down my back, coming to a rest just above my tail. My entire body is tense and I can feel myself starting to panic before the song fades out for another with a faster tempo. Sarah pulls her head from my shoulder. I love this song! She pulls away and I feel a wave of relief wash over me, hoping she didn't notice or isn't angry about what happened. She starts to bounce and hop to the beat and I follow her lead, but she turns around and pushes her back into me. She gives me a wink over the shoulder as she dances. Her body grinds against mine. She sways her body while I try to focus on dancing, but I can't keep up. I try to move along with her, but I keep moving the wrong way, and I can feel my crotch grind against her body. Panicking, I take a step back and she follows me. The song seems to go on forever. The music finally changes and I can't focus on anything other than what's going on in my pants. Sarah looks at me and before I can react, kisses me on the cheek. Thanks for dancing with me, TJ. Even in the dim lighting, I can see her blushing face. I'm going to take a break, but I want to dance with you again before the party ends, okay? Okay. I watch as she walks away, not realizing my eyes are on her hips until she disappears into the crowd. A tightness in my pants snaps me back to reality and I fumble to put my hands in my pockets, hoping to hide what's going on in there. I look around for signs to the bathroom and I make my way out of the party room. The exit is a long tunnel that leads to the church. The air in here is damp and cold, and as I step into the hallway, I feel a wave of cold air hit me. I realize how warm I am. I'm practically panting. I groan as I probably looked like an idiot dancing with Sarah. My feet make almost no sound thanks to my natural padding, Actually, I tend to sneak up on people a lot. It is kind of funny when I manage to startle Jenna, although she made a point of evening the score. The restroom is a one person at a time kind, and I lock the door behind me. As I'm going, I remember that Chase and Leo are somewhere around here. Maybe I should go and chat with them? I finish up and make my way down the long empty hallway. I try looking for Leo and Chase, but it's hard to see much in here. I stand on my tiptoes, hoping to see Leo's ears since he's so tall. Nothing. I circle the room twice before I give up. Maybe they went outside? I make my way back to the exit and walk down the silent hallway again. This time I turn the opposite direction at the end and make my way upstairs and into the church. The chapel ceiling makes the hall seem twice as large as it is. Candles sit lining the racks along the walls. A few are lit, but most are not. An altar made of marble and covered in a white cloth with a gold trim stands in front of a big wooden cross. A wooden podium stands off to the left for the priest to give a sermon. Wooden pews fill the empty space in the hall, while a balcony for the choir overlooks the entire chapel. The church organ is on the balcony, probably so kids don't mess with it. I walk through the front door, thinking that maybe they went out for some fresh air. No one there. I make my way to the parking lot to see if Leo's truck is still here. My heart sinks a little lower as I walk toward the lot, the thought of them abandoning me at my weird Christian party in front of my mind. Luckily, I spot Leo's truck sitting near the back of the lot, so at least they're still here. But that's not where we parked when we got here. That's weird. Maybe they went to get something? I head over to the truck, passing under the street lamps. The lights are dim and the lot is mostly dark, including the space Leo's truck is occupying. I assume that they just got back from wherever they went and are still in there, so I make my way up towards the truck. Okay, I am genuinely scared as to what TJ is about to see. I can start to make out that someone is in the driver's seat, but the passenger seat is empty. I can't quite make out who it is, but it has to be Leo, right? I can see his silhouette outlined by the back window, but something seems off. Like it doesn't really look like him. I slow my pace and try to make out what I'm seeing. I stop about 30 feet from the truck and squint my eyes. Suddenly the silhouette starts to move, but not just that. It starts to morph and change and split in two. A second shadow moves to the passenger seat. I start backpedaling as the driver's side door opens, and I'm about to turn and run when the headlight comes on and Leo leans out. Hey TJ, is that you? I stop and relax, internally chastising myself for being so skittish. Yeah, I was looking for you and Chase. Where'd you go? I walk more confidently towards Leo, and as I reach the car, Leo closes the door and rolls down the window. Leo looks to his right. Chase is sitting in the passenger seat. He looks a little embarrassed and also a little annoyed. He has a jacket over his lap and his bare legs are sticking out from beneath it. Leo clears his throat. We just went for, Chase seems to snicker at that. Oh, okay. I'm still not sure what they're talking about, but I have my suspicions. I look at Chase. So, are you going to go to the party? Leo looks at Chase, who sighs heavily, like he's just put down a giant weight. I don't know about that, TJ. It's kind of awkward. Not really into the whole Kool-Aid thing. That last part comes out all mumbly and quiet. I flatten my ears to my head and ball my fists. Quit acting like this is some cult, Chase. My eyes go wide when I realize I said that out loud. Chase rolls his eyes and makes a tick sound with his mouth. I know, TJ. I was just joking. I clench my fists harder. No, you're not. You always mumble stuff like that when all I'm trying to do is include you guys. Chase glares back at me before responding. Well, maybe it's because I'm not comfortable being in a place that thinks people like me and Leo are disgusting. Who in there thinks you're disgusting? You know most of them. You've hung out with me and Sarah before, so who in there thinks you're disgusting? Chase rolls his eyes again, and Leo seizes the opportunity to step in and raise his hands. Look, Chase, we're here on TJ's behalf. The least we can do is stop in and say hi. Chase mumbles something again, but I ignore it. We'll head inside a bit, Tej, and we'll stick around for a while, and then we'll all head home, okay? Leo's tone puts me at ease again, but I'm still uptight after what Chase said. Listen, I'm going to go for a quick walk to get some fresh air. Leo shoots a quick glare at Chase before turning to me. Alright, we'll be inside when you get back, okay? I nod, and because I don't want to have to say anything more, I turn and fast walk toward the road, passing under the dim lights of the parking lot as I do. I notice my lungs fill with cold air and a pressure seems to lift off of my body. I wonder if that's what it's like to go through a panic attack. It sure felt like one. I struggle to undo my cufflinks, noticing how shaky my hands are, but I manage to undo the pins and let my wrists breathe. I loosen my tie and unbutton the top few buttons of my shirt, feeling like I can actually breathe again. I look around at the long stretch of road that runs past the church. There are some houses nearby, but the road is pretty empty except for the street lamps. One side of the road is a rocky, gravel-covered hill, while the other side is flat, open ground with the occasional house nearby. I stand on the side of the road under the street lamp for a few minutes more, and I don't really know why, but I take a step toward the darkness of Echo. As I walk down the road, I can feel the gravel shift under my toe pads, and it tickles my feet. I force myself to smile, and I try to think about other happy little things in life, but all I can think about is Chase and Leo. I sort of disconnect from what I'm seeing, drawing into myself as I wonder what I thought it had been a good idea to invite Chase. He's always been kind of mean, but today it's even worse for some reason. He'd always been okay with me and my beliefs, but I guess actually bringing him here had been too much. I stop and snap back to reality. It's completely dark and I look up. It seems like I've walked past the streetlights on this road. I turn around and look back towards the church. I didn't realize I had walked this far. I can barely make it out from here. How long have I been walking? I sigh and start to head back, putting my hands in my pockets as I pick up the pace. I'm unnerved with how loud my footsteps are now. Each footstep is like nails on a chalkboard, causing the fur on the back of my neck to stand up. As I make it back under the closest street lamp, I check my phone to see what time it is. 9:30. Wish I had checked before I started walking, but I figure the party should have at least an hour left. I continue walking and go to put my phone in my pocket. I miss and it tumbles to the ground. I stop to pick it up. The fur on the back of my neck stands up again. I thought I heard footsteps after I stopped walking. There were echoes. Something about a few of them sounded different. But it had to be the echo, right? I stand up and look behind me, but I don't see anything. I squint my eyes, looking into the blackness, but I can't make anything out. I listen for anything, and I think I can hear breathing. When I try to focus on it, a steady, high-pitched ringing starts to build. The more I try to focus, the louder it gets. I try to focus on anything other than that sound, but there's nothing to hear. It's gotten so loud that I don't think I'd be able to hear a jet engine at this point. I feel my lungs start to burn, and I release the breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. I was so focused on hearing something, anything, other than that ringing, that I had ignored everything else. I inhale, the night air pierced by the sound of my breath being released. I must be going crazy. I take one last look around and start back towards the church again. Once I step out of the light, I swear I can hear footsteps start up behind me again. I focus on steadying my breathing and listening for any out-of-place sounds again. I keep my head low and try to catch a glimpse of anything out of the corner of my eyes. I look ahead to see how far I am from the church and my heart sinks. I'm not even close. I look towards the houses on the side of the road, but only one remains between me and the church, and it's still a few street lamps away. Even in the dark, I can see that it's a dilapidated mess and no lights shine from inside it. There are trees going all around it and overtaking what's left of the house. I consider running and hiding in there, but there's no guarantee that the doors are unlocked, or worse yet, maybe that's the person who's following me lives. Just keep walking. I can't see anyone, so it might all be in my head. Even if it is someone following me, who's to say it isn't someone from the church? That would make them a good person, right? I make it under another street light, and then another. I pass under another two before I make it in front of the dilapidated house. Just then I hear ragged breathing coming from behind me, and I spin around with a yelp. But there's no one there. A whine escapes my throat as I look into the darkness. Shouldn't I be relieved that no one's there? But I can still hear that ragged breathing. Sounds like it's coming from everywhere. I can hear it to my left, but I can't see anything. I look to my right, but I don't see anything. I spin around, looking in all directions, but I can't see anything. I turn my back towards the light pole, and I slowly back up. Tears fill my eyes. Hello? Is there anyone there? This isn't funny. I jump in surprise when my back touches the light pole. I can hear his ragged breathing coming from my right and moving to the left, just outside of the light. I shift on my feet and I can hear his footsteps echoing in the darkness. Hello? That's when I see something. I think I can see him moving around in the darkness. A tall, lanky figure. Oh my god, it's Flynn! I'm pretty sure it's like Flynn after he just transforms into something. He bends down and starts to walk on all fours, but what I can make out disappears into the darkness again. It can be heard pacing around me, and as it starts to come closer to the light pole, I turn and back myself into the middle of the shining light. I hug my arms to my chest and whimper. I don't know where it is anymore. Whatever it is. I try to listen again, but that terrible ringing pierces my ears. I feel my face scrunch up and tears run down my cheeks. I feel another whimper escape my throat, and I look around into the night. I look back towards Echo, and I see a car driving towards me, and I feel a sense of hope wash over me. I start to look around, making sure that the thing isn't going to grab me out by the shadows. I start to wave down the car, but as it pulls closer, the lights dim, and I can't see into it. My heart sinks, and I back away towards the light pole as I glimpse the silhouette of horns in the driver's seat, and a bright red eye looking back at me. I stumble backwards away from the car. He pulls up next to me and rolls the window down. TJ? Carl? Carl nods in a manner that says, the one and only. He pulls a cigarette out of his mouth. What are you doing? I let out a sigh of relief and rush forward, grabbing at the door handle. Whoa there, Tej. I gotta unlock the door first. I fiddle with the handle and Carl tells me to stop so he can open the door. I force myself to let go and I look around, afraid that something is going to jump out at me right before I can reach safety. I can smell something bad in the air now, like someone who hasn't bathed in months or a rotten dead animal. It's closer now. I hear the doors click open and I scramble for the handle again. I can hear Carl mention the door being open and that I could just sit in the front if I'd like, but I ignore him, too focused on getting inside the car. Yanking on the door, I step back to make room for it to swing outward. In that moment, I feel a presence and my hair raises on my neck. I rush to get into the back seat, and as I look down for this step, I swear I can see a shadowy hand reaching from under the car. I quickly jump into the back seat and slam the door shut. Carl looks back at me without a smile. What are you doing out here, Tej? You feeling alright? Without looking at him, I mumble something about needing a walk. I'm still too busy checking to make sure nothing is waiting outside the car watching us, or trying to get in. I feel a shifting in my seat and the car starts to move. I take in a deep inward breath and let out a sigh of relief. I turn and look back over my shoulder at where I was trapped a few moments ago. I blink a few times to clear my eyes, and I can blurrily see the silhouette of a lanky, misshaped person standing just outside the light. But we pull too far away for me to make anything out clearly. I turn back around and lean my head back into the headrest, and I close my eyes, feeling them well up with tears. I jump when Carl starts talking again. So, TJ, what the heck were you doing out here anyway? Did something happen? I needed to clear my mind, so I went for a walk. All the way out here? I was at the church. I point out the window to the side of the car would be on, but we're already past it and in the pig. I think about telling him what just happened, but I can't figure out how to explain it right now. Carl keeps asking me questions, all the while I tell him about my evening, the party, Sarah, Chase, and Leo. I leave out everything that happened after I left the church, for reasons I can't explain. I decide to focus on the part with Chase getting on my nerves. He just laughs it off, saying that that's just how Chase and Leo are. He asks if he should drop me off back at the church, and I tell him no, almost too quickly. I don't want to go back there, but I don't want to be alone. So instead I ask him if I can go over to his place for a bit. He replies with an ecstatic, "Of course," and I message Leo and Chase to let them know. He mentions that he was going into Peyton to buy a new game that's just come out. He laughs, saying he hopes I don't mind if we have to wait a bit for it. I mumble that it's fine, as long as the place we're going is well lit. I think we have enough time for one more. This is going to have to be like multiple parts. But yeah, I think we have time for one more. May 2012. That's a time jump. I pull up to the old fast food joint in my shitty old truck, the fan blasting hot desert air. I look around the sun-baked parking lot, but I don't see Chase's car yet. Taking out my phone, I check the time and scan through my messages. He told me he got out for lunch 15 minutes ago, but it's 20 minutes later now. There's a little pang of worry, mostly because I know how shitty a driver Chase is, but he's usually late, so I quash that. I give my pits a quick check. Driving around with a broken AC is fucking torture in this weather, but the antiperspirant seems to be holding up alright. After giving them a quick sniff, I recline and put my paws behind my head to air out and maybe catch a quick nap. Sure, it's a pain in the ass having to come down here when I'm this tired. Dad's working me to the goddamn bone, and the restaurant is on the opposite side of Peyton. But seeing Chase makes it worth it. It isn't often that we get to have lunch together, the lunch hour being as short as it only gives us about 20 minutes to really talk. I'm starting to doze off when I hear a knock on my window. I give a little start and open my eyes, squinting against the desert sun reflecting off a car bumper in front of me. Looking to my left, Chase's adorable otter face greets me through the window, grinning. All of the bad mood I had earlier evaporates away, and as if there was water under this fucking sun. Chase steps back as soon as I open the door. "Hey, babe." I step out and pull him into a hug. "Hey." He says it against my chest, rubbing his nose in like he always does while I run my paws around his back. "Man, that swim team is really slimming you down." I pinch his sides appreciatively. He wiggles under my fingers and returns the favor to my own waist. "And you're getting squishy." "Hey." I pretend to be offended, giving him a mock growl, letting it vibrate from my chest into his nose. "Wouldn't be that way if you didn't keep picking fat factories like this." No more football doesn't help either. I like it. I'm actually really proud of him right now. I used to be so worried about people seeing us like this. Now he's hugging me like no one's around. I'm actually curious. Holy shit, I can open up save menus. Wow. I decide to go a bit further and give him a quick lick on one of those stubby cute ears, and he gives a little shiver and laughs. "Stop. Let's go inside. It's too hot out here." As he turns away from me, he lets his thick tail push up against my crotch, shoving my junk up against my body. It actually hurts more than it feels good. He really doesn't get how strong that thing is, but it gets me going anyway. After we put in our orders and get our drinks, we both stare down at a greasy table. Chase swiping an old fry off his booth. You know, I would go to a different restaurant if we had time and I had the money. It's fine, as long as we're not doing it every day. I stretch back, purposefully puffing my chest out so my already tight shirt hugs my body even tighter. It's not lost on Chase as he gazes at the chest ruff poking through my shirt, and I'm satisfied as I see a longing look come across his face. That's not fair, Leo. I've got another 3 hours of school. Just showing you what's waiting for you at home. He rolls his eyes before pulling out his phone. Hey, no texting. Let's talk. What do you want to talk about? He doesn't put it away. Well, I toy with the straw in my cup. Is now a good time to bring it up? I always get annoyed when I see people making a scene in restaurants. Like, it's the perfect place to tell someone it's over or that they're gay. But Chase seems to be in a good mood. It's probably as good a time as any. Have you decided on what you're going to do after school? Chase finally puts his phone down on the table and closes his eyes, sighing. That makes me nervous. Don't worry about it right now, Leo. I've still got a few months to decide. Fuck. How can he not worry when all that's going to do is make me worry? And the way he says it sounds like he's already made a decision. I open my muzzle, but he stands up, straightening his tight shirt as he does. Going to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I grunt and he heads off towards the back of the restaurant while I slump in my seat. The idea of Chase leaving is fucking terrifying. We've been this way for the past 2.5 years, and the way he's treating this decision like it's a fucking annoyance makes me all the more frustrated. I feel like this relationship has only really come into its own over the past year. Mostly because Chase turned 18 and we don't have to worry about this stupid shit anymore. His phone buzzes a few times and I look at it out of habit. Then it really starts buzzing and I realize someone's calling him. Incoming call, Jared. A face that I don't recognize pops up on the screen. Oh no! It's a wolf of some kind. A gray wolf, I think. And he's ridiculously handsome. Model handsome, actually. I furrow my brows and look back behind me at the bathroom, but Chase isn't there. Fuck it. I could just say I was picking it up for him anyway. I grab the phone and stab the green pickup symbol before holding it up to my ear. Since Chase has the stubby muzzle thing going for him, his phone doesn't pull out like mine, so I have to try and direct my voice out the side of my mouth. Who's this? I curse silently as I realize that if I wanted the guy to talk, that probably wasn't the best way to do it, and sure enough, I hear a click as he hangs up. I feel my heart beating fast as I pull the phone down from my ear. I stare at the screen for a while and barely realize it goes black. There's no way he'd do this, would he? I slide my finger around the blank screen for a while, then turn it back on as I navigate to the text. Sure enough, there's a thread under the name Jared with over 1,000 texts. My throat's dry as I tap on it and look at the most recent messages. 11:52. Hey boy, where you at? I miss you. Calling now. Hey. I whip my head up and see Chase staring down at me, an exasperated grin on his muzzle. I almost lower my ears in shame at being caught, but I catch myself before I do. He's the one who has some explaining to do. Who the fuck is this? I shove the phone in his face, realizing that I've lost my chance at approaching this delicately. I also noticed a few heads turning our way, and that I've suddenly become the guy I didn't want to be. Chase takes his phone and quickly sits down, his eyes wide as he makes a shushing shape with his mouth. That only pisses me off more, but at the same time, I feel something really sharp and painful in my chest. Is this really happening? So you are leaving? Running off to fuck some other wolf? Now people are really staring, and Chase winces as he ducks his head lower to the table. It's a joke, Leo. Calm down. A joke? I don't understand what that means exactly, but I'm starting to. I don't say anything, so Chase keeps going. Jenna, we were trying to have some fun. I was starting to realize this probably wasn't the best time, but... Jenna. That explains it, but the anger and betrayal I'm feeling doesn't go away like it should. Now I'm livid. So you're playing the stupid game of keeping me guessing whether or not you're going to ditch me next year, and then you pull this shit? I raise my voice for the last part, and there's a noticeable lull in conversations all around us. A few people glance at us, then look away, but I can tell all their ears are pointed in our direction. Outside, Leo. He says it like he's talking to a toddler, and stands up and goes straight for the door. Again, I'm pissed off even more, the way he's treating me like a little kid. I deserve it, I know, but I can't help it. I follow him out into the hot air, again, trying to ignore the heads turning as I walk by. The hell is wrong with you? He whirls on me. I'm shocked. He looks almost as angry as I am. Me? You know, I told Jenna that there was no way in hell you'd fall for this since you already knew how I felt about you. I'm the one that should be fucking offended that you'd think that. That's not fair. You wanted a reaction from me, and you got one. Happy? I fold my arms and glare at him. Chase folds his arm too, and slumps against the wall, looking away from me. He's sad. That fucking hurts. I was looking forward to this all day, and he probably was too. It's almost enough to make me take everything back. Almost. Then Jenna shows up, her light blonde fur almost making her hard to look at as she lights up under the sun. She comes running over from the parking lot to hop up onto the sidewalk, standing next to Chase. I should have known how strange it was that Chase would park so far away from me. She'd been sitting in there this whole time, probably watching us through the windows. What's wrong, Leo? The glee in her voice brings it all back, and I realize who I'm really mad at. She probably pushed him into the whole thing. This was your idea? I reach out and grab the phone from Chase's paw and hold it out to her. She's still grinning, though the initial happiness morphs into a more condescending look that makes me grit my teeth. It's a prank, Leo. Making me think I just lost my otter is a prank? If this is a fucking joke, then you need to learn how to make one first. Why don't you learn how to take one? How was I supposed to take that? Just laugh and shrug and say, well, fuck, so much for that. Is that what you expected? I throw my arms out in a big, exaggerated shrug. Jenna frowns and lowers her ears. Actually, we just thought you wouldn't fall for it. At least not this hard. I mean, come on. I cropped that from the cover of some teen magazine. It was my number 2, if you didn't notice. She continues to frown at me. Chase is still looking away from us, and I feel like the big asshole that's ruined everyone's fun. It just wasn't a good time, alright? No? No. How the fuck is she doing this right now? I just wanted to talk to Chase, alone. I look back into the restaurant, and a server behind the counter is looking at us, a tray of food in her paws. Some of the patrons are staring too, like I give a fuck. What the hell are you doing here anyway? Semester ended last week. So you're staying at home for the summer? I give her a confused look. Of course not. I'm staying with Emily. I take a deep breath and close my eyes. I'd honestly be happy to hear Jenna was going to be around for the summer if she hadn't introduced herself in such a fucked up way. I hear her give a heavy sigh, and I open my eyes to see her rubbing her head, like I'm just the biggest disappointment. You need to calm down, Leo. How can we ever have fun if you're exploding all the time? I grit my teeth again, and I have to work not to snarl. Telling me to calm down is the worst thing you can do right now. I'm tired, I'm hot, and I just wanted to have lunch with Chase. I glance at the phone and see it's already 20 past the hour, which means Chase has to leave now. I squeeze the phone hard in my paw, but Jenna doesn't seem to notice. You're overreacting. Yo, is it just me or is the screen getting darker? It is. I feel something snap inside, and rather than chuck the phone in Jenna's direction, I spin and start to throw it down on the sidewalk. I realize at the last second that it's Chase's phone that I'm throwing, and I try to grab it back up at the same time I throw it, only succeed in clipping a corner, which sends it into a flip before it hits the concrete. Oh my god! The crunch sound, along with the sparkling spray of glass, tells us that I just smashed the phone to hell. I wince and flatten my ears. I stare at the little black square for a while, feeling both their eyes on the back of my head. Que mierda fue eso? Eso? I don't know how to say that. I curse myself, though I've said it more times before that I know Chase recognizes the phrase. Slowly, I turn around, my face flushing as I try to meet eyes with him. Otter, I'm sorry, I'll buy you. I'm going to Pueblo, Leo. He's looking at me now, and his hazel eyes feel like they're piercing right through me. I stare at him for a second, as if I didn't understand, but I feel my stomach sink even as I speak. What? He's sucking in his cheeks to stop himself from frowning, the way he does when he's trying not to cry. Jenna's silent, looking away, but my gut tells me she already knows this, and then starts to bring back some of the anger. What the hell are you talking about? I said I'm going to Pueblo, in August. I got accepted in January. I don't know what to say. I feel like I've been punched in the stomach, and I can't get my air back to make words. All I can manage. Chase. He turns away from me. I gotta go back. I'm already going to be late. Jenna looks over at me, and I finally see some remorse in her face as she jogs to catch up with Chase. I hear her start to apologize. I watch him go, desperately wanting to run up and pull him into my arms and tell him I'm sorry, but I know that'll probably make things worse. He likes to be left alone when he's pissed like this, but after dropping that bomb, I want to talk to him right now. No, we'll figure this out. I'll just talk to him once school lets out. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Just a few more hours. I watch them pull out of the parking lot, and I wish he'd look at me as they drive past, but he doesn't. Neither does Jenna. I hesitate, then pick up Chase's phone, because he's going to need to recover some shit from him when I buy him a new one, then hop in my truck. I sit there for a second, not sure what to do. I feel sick and angry, and tired all at the same time. A lot of this is my fault. I punch the steering wheel, and that feels good, so I do it again. But then I realize people are still staring at me through the windows. I flip them off before I put the truck in gear. Is this why Chase is leaving me? Because I can't control my fucking temper sometimes? No, not leaving me, just working things out. As I'm driving down the road, the churning feeling in my gut finally gets to me. I pull my phone up, looking up now and then to correct my steering. I type what I hope is a heartfelt apology. In the middle of it, I remember that his phone is sitting in my cup holder, fucking broken. I finally let out the snarl I've been holding back and throw my phone into the passenger seat, accidentally swerving and setting off a few honks. I grip the steering wheel with both paws, blinking furiously as the road starts to blur. No, I'm not gonna cry. This will work out fine. We just need to talk like we always do, and even if he does leave, we'll work something out. I'm not gonna fuck this up. I'm not gonna lose my temper ever again. I'm not gonna lose him. Oh my god. Okay. Do y'all want to do another one? Because honestly, I am hooked, but hey. Alright. Okay, party, metaphor, or trip? Because I think we're only going to do one more tonight. Wait. October 2012. Carl, do you know where the keys are? I dig through my pockets again, but my fingers only rake the grocery shopping list I made and some chump change from the soda I bought earlier. I brief hope. A glimmer of salvation bubbles to the surface when I feel something metal and pointy. When I bring it out, though, it's just an old keychain I won at the fair and never bothered to take out. It's even still got a sticker on it. Didn't you leave them on your desk? His voice is barely audible, over what I can only imagine are the 10-year-olds he's playing a shooter with. I thought I saw them on your desk. I already checked. They're not. I open the closet drawer. It's filled to the brim with old comics, but still no keys. Maybe they got thrown into the trash by accident? Why would... I rub the bridge of my snout. I'm in no rush to get out today, because the party won't start for an hour and a half, at least. But I won't get anywhere without the car keys. Our dorm isn't the largest, but right now it still feels like I'm trying to find a needle in a haystack. A haystack that's usually very well organized. As per usual, I blame Carl. What do you... I hear the sound of a rocket launcher going off. Carl follows up with a stream of swear words, the likes of which I haven't heard since we were 12 and hanging out with Flynn after school. What do you need them for anyway? Got the groceries this morning. Weed. You got weed this morning, Carl. I can smell it from here. I hear an awkward chuckle. You know how it is. Healthy greens. Anyway, where are you going? I scour another drawer. This one's full of greeting cards. Old ones, by the looks of it, congratulating Carl and me for getting into college. I flip each one over before shutting it again. I'm heading to Vincent's place, remember? Thought I told you. I lift one of the vases Carl's mom gave him when we left town. You're actually going? I thought you said you were going to study tonight. Nah, I got invited, and a couple of my friends will be there, so I'm going. I spot the keys and let out a sound, which once it's out of my mouth, I realize resembles a deflating balloon. They're right here, Carl. Jesus. They're sitting on the shelf, right next to the TV. I pick them up. almost feel like doing a little victory dance at this point. I've been looking for these damn things for a solid hour already. Carl's still as stone-faced as ever. I don't know if he's had weed or if he's just in a bad mood. Maybe both. I sit on the bed with him. It's a far more comfortable mattress than the ones that come with the dorm. I think Carl's parents had it specially ordered when he left town. Carl doesn't tear his eyes off the game. Dude, get off my back. I didn't mean to. Shit. The round's over. The cacophony of voices that has served as the backdrop for our conversation abruptly dies out, replaced by the most generic orchestral music I've ever heard. Carl's got the worst score on the board. Don't even have time to say anything before he tosses the controller off to the side. It's a small miracle it doesn't break on impact, considering how hard he's tossing it around. I cross my arms behind my head and get comfortable. You alright, man? You seem kinda mad. Carl's hands go to the pockets of his ripped jeans. I could be better. Really? I absentmindedly draw a finger over the keychain of my car keys, the one with the picture of Leo on it. I think it's the first picture I'd ever taken with my own camera. Carl notices from the corner of his eye and playfully smacks my paw away, though seems to remind him of something, as he turns to me and opens his muzzle. How are you holding up? With the whole Leo thing going on, I mean. I have to ponder that for a moment myself. Leo doesn't cross my mind a lot these days, but when I do think of him, I feel empty, hollow, to the point where I wonder, somewhere in the back of my mind, if leaving Echo's been the right choice. In the end, however, I shake my head to snap out of it, as I always do when asked about Leo. I've done it for my parents, I've done it for my friends, and I've done it for myself when looking in the mirror all alone late at night. It's better this way, you know? I mimic Carl's sitting position, thrusting my hands down my jean pockets. I smirk, inching closer to him. Besides, I've got all the man I need right here. It's a poor way to lighten the mood, but Carl falls for it hard, making a mock face of disgust. Ew, pardon, but I don't associate with no queers. He does his best southern drawl. I snort. So those last, 9 years, that was just you letting me down gently? Exactly. He notices the way I'm sitting, shifts his legs around, and pulls his hands out of his pockets. I'm glad you finally got it after all this time. It's a weight off my shoulders. And here I thought we had something special. We laugh together, almost enough to make me forget about Echo for a moment. Almost. So, this Vincent guy, it is a date or... I roll my eyes. It's just a party. Jeez, nothing's gonna happen. If he tries anything funny, just give me a call. Carl takes a large swig from the 2-liter soda bottle sitting next to him. It's almost captivating to watch him down it all in the span of roughly an hour. I think his record's at 45 minutes. I'll come pick you. He cuts himself off with a burp. Pick you up. It's a 5-minute drive. I'll be fine. Thanks, though. Your mom made me promise to look after you, man. He slams the bottle down a bit too hard. Soda erupts from the bottle and stains his pants. Well, fuck. I laugh. Sounds like you need more help than I do. He wags a finger at me. Shut it. Can you pass me the towel? Don't want to come with? I toss him the towel hanging over the back of his chair. He invited you, too. Nah, you know me, Chase. I'm no good at parties. He's vigorously rubbing at the stain, but it won't come out no matter how much pressure he applies. Hell, I don't think it's really drying. When he realizes it, he shoots me a pleading glance. There's just a tiny hint of despair in his eyes. It's a look he's given me plenty of time since we were kids, and I know exactly what it means. Nope, you're on laundry duty today, Carl. Remember? I fold my arms over my chest. And you're cooking tomorrow. I've got a lecture in the afternoon. Something about the importance of composition in photography. He groans and stretches. Composition in photography? Sounds pretty interesting. It is pretty interesting. I eye one of the magazines sitting on the table. It's from a few months back, before we even got here. A layer of dust is starting to form on them. What about your classes? The way he's looking at me, you'd think I said something offensive. My what? I drag a finger through the dust, then bring it to my face. My paw pad's all gray now, and the dust my paws kicked up is almost enough to give me a coughing fit. Your classes, how are they? Oh, He shrinks back into his seat, like he's trying to hide behind his hoodie. He finally just shrugs. Okay, I guess. Not bad. I raise an eyebrow. Just okay? It's a business major, Chase. He's given up on rubbing the stain. Not much going on besides numbers. Numbers and more numbers. He snorts. I don't even know how my mom can keep track of all of them. So many numbers. I chuckle. Almost sounds like college. Maybe I should have stayed in Echo. I'm not really cut out for this stuff. I gently squeeze his shoulder. He pulls his beanie down to the point where it's almost covering his eyes. I can see him nodding under there, I think. I let it sit there. I don't want to make Carl uncomfortable. His parents put enough pressure on him as is. Instead, I just put a hand on his shoulder. He leans into the touch, a smile appearing on his face again. He picks up the controller once more and starts a new game. He hastily points toward a second controller. You still have time, right? I look up at Carl's pleading grin, then at my watch. Indeed, I still have another hour until I really need to leave, and I've already freshened up and everything. Before I've even managed to grab the controller, almost tripping over the clothes and trash on the floor in the meantime, Carl's already started a match. The voices start up again. There's accusations and shit slinging about and already. I'm gonna be playing online? Of course you're playing online. The bots are way too easy. I thought we could just do a versus match or some... My character gets taken down with a headshot almost as soon as I'm in. There's some shrieking on the other end. Come on, Chase, get it together. I'm not used to these controls. I've played on one of the older games in the series before, mostly back in Echo during the summer, when it was so hot you couldn't even go outside without spontaneously combusting. This one's got an entirely different control scheme, and only managed to get a grip on it after dying a few times. If Flynn were here, I'm sure he'd have a jab ready. I'm better at side-scrollers, you know. I get stabbed 10 times in the chest by a guy whose nickname leaves a lot to be desired. And fighting games. You suck at fighting games too. I grin at him. I do not suck at fighting games. I beat your ass last time, remember? Only because you used the cheapest character and kept spamming the same move. It stings just a little, but he isn't lying, now that I think about it. I remember reading somewhere that the character I used isn't allowed in tournaments because of how broken he is. Naturally, he ended up being my favorite. Didn't help that he was cute too. Well, you could have dodged it after the 5th time I've used it. Seriously? He takes another swig from his bottle. Some droplets fall on his hoodie. That was a bullshit combo and you know it. Somehow I managed to land a headshot on the guy who killed me, and Carl lets out a war cry that sounds like a dying frog. Ah, fuck. I simply have to pull this up now. So is this what Carl sounded like? Is that what he sounded like? A bit too soon, as I stand out of cover a bit too long, which earns me a rocket to the face from the player who was standing right next to said guy. I swear through gritted teeth, but I persevere, after I get killed by a guy who's blatantly shooting me through walls. However, I just give up. Yeah, I pulled up a video of like a frog screaming. Cheater. It's whatever, I guess. I shift on the bed, kicking up my legs. How about a couple levels in Claws of Destruction? I think I'm done with this one for now, if that's okay. After grabbing a granola bar from the kitchen cabinet, I'm finally on my way to the party. Only half of my mind's actually focusing on the road, the other half can't stop grumbling about the heat. I probably should have put on something other than jeans, maybe shorts, or would that look silly? Blood. Vincent's place is on the other side of campus. It's a short drive, but in this heat, it feels like miles. My parents' old car doesn't have air conditioning. It'll make visiting them back in Echo torture if I ever do decide to go back there. Perhaps one day. For now, I'm pretty content where I am. Even though I've seen it often, I'm always struck by how gorgeous the campus looks at sunset. Echo's got some nice views, but Pueblo just kicks it to the curb in every aspect. It looks exactly like what the brochures make it out to be, which I've heard is pretty impressive for a place like this. I'm just happy it's got indoor and outdoor pools. I won't be able to survive a week without those. Just driving in this weather is making me seriously long for air conditioning. There's a couple of cars on the parking lot in front of the building already. Mine looks out of place next to all the newer models. Then again, I suppose I'm a bit less affluent when compared to most of the other students here, with their muscle cars and scholarships. Didn't stop me from getting in, at least. Some of the people I recognize from my class wave at me as I pass them. Others ignore me and keep on smoking just out of sight. Judging by the smell, it's weed. I shouldn't be surprised. People seem to be a lot more lax about that here than they are back at home. It might be one of the reasons Carl's mom had him go to this university. It takes me a couple of rings to realize the doorbell's busted. Even longer to notice the tiny slip of paper stuck to the door telling me to go around the back. When I do, I'm met with the jovial grin of a wolf who already looks like he's had one too many. Vincent walks towards me, arms spread wide open. He's wearing a plain white shirt and the most casual shorts. Looks like I did put on too many layers. When I return the awkward hug he tries to give me, I can smell cheap liquor on his breath. A far cry from the diligent student he usually is during classes. Chase, how are you, man? Doing just fine, thanks. Nice, party you've got going on here. Lots of people. He chuckles, patting my back. There's more inside. Way more. Come on in, I'll show you. I follow him into the building, through some small hallways. I notice Jenna standing at the other end when we turn a corner. Looks like she's busy reading something. I call out to her, but it doesn't seem like she can hear me. Just when I'm about to try again, Vince tugs me into his room. It's spacious, I'll give him that much. Busy, too. There's tons of people in the living room area alone. Some of them are playing beer pong, others are chatting. Well, it's more like they're shouting to each other over the loud music. A girl from my class I've been working together on a project with, Lana, sits in a corner playing with her phone. She's wearing a rather eye-catching, revealing red dress. One I'm pretty sure violates some university dress code. Sometimes she giggles to herself. When I catch her eye, she immediately puts it away and steps over to me. There you are, Chase. It's not like you to be this late. She grins from ear to ear, displaying her almost eerily white teeth. I lean against a wall, eyeing the crowd from a distance with her. I had trouble finding a good parking spot. How's the party? Anything crazy going on? It's been pretty routine so far. We were just getting to the good part. She smiles, tipping her muzzle towards the table. The drinks are over there. The good part? Next to me, Vince nods and tilts his muzzle toward the kitchen. His ears perk up. Law and I went out and got something special for the guests. Part of me already knows what it's going to be. Probably booze or something. From what I've heard, it's what college parties are all about. I don't know. This is the first one I've ever been to. Something special, huh? What is it? You'll see. She grabs her phone again, tapping away on it like she's writing a novel. It's going to be good. I kick back and enjoy the party for a bit. This good thing sounds pretty questionable, even more so once Lana disappears into the kitchen before returning with a big silver tray. She passes it from person to person, everyone taking something from it. I try not to think about it too much. By the looks of it, it's not just the usual party snacks. It takes her a while to get through everyone, so I just grab a can of soda from the cooler on the table. It's an off-brand. I guess the booze is more important. Finally, Lana thrusts the tray in front of my face with the widest of smiles. Her enthusiasm only leaves me disappointed when I find nothing but blueberry muffins. Blueberry muffins that smell kind of funny, like they've been out for a few days already. It's like those cakes Janice tried selling at the diner a few years back. I scratch the back of my head. They're just muffins. What's the big deal? A large line with a long braided mane appears up behind her. Special recipe, man. They're edibles. I've seen the line around campus before, but I don't know his name, just his face. I think he's in Carl's class. Like, drugs? Take one of the muffins from the tray and bring it up to my nose. Up close, it just smells awful. I narrow my eyes. You'd better not be pulling a prank on me. No prank. You should try one, Chase. She grins at me. She seems honest enough. Not that I think she's trying to poison me. Now that I think about it, Carl told me about edibles once. About a year ago, I think. Time's been ticking by way too fast ever since I graduated from high school. I can't remember what he told me about them specifically. Something about not being able to get high from them. Then again, Carl's probably used to stuff that's a lot heavier. Around me, people are already popping them in their muzzles like it's no big deal. This probably isn't a prank then. Unless they lace just one of them and this is some weird Russian roulette but with muffins kind of thing. Should I do this? I mean, I promised my parents I'd try and be responsible while away from home, but I don't think this would hurt. If it does, I can always just leave. Everyone's eyes are on me when I stick it in my mouth. The peer pressure makes the fur on the back of my neck stand on end. It's not as gross as I expected to be. At least, thank God. I can still taste a bit of the blueberry in there. The weed part, though, well, I've never used weed, so I don't know what it tastes like. If this is it, it's nothing special. Hell, I don't even feel anything. Lana sets the tray down on the coffee table. A sheep sitting on the couch takes a muffin from it as soon as she leaves it alone. How is it? You okay? I shrug my shoulders and drink my soda. I don't really feel anything. Her lips stretch into a thin line, and she looks down at the tray again with a frown. Huh. The lion speaks up again, taking a swig from the beer bottle he's holding. Maybe his wasn't all that strong. I sure as hell felt it when I ate mine. Maybe he's just immune to it or something. I shake my head. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Maybe it just hasn't kicked in yet. Vince gives my back a smack. Maybe. Didn't think it'd be such a heavyweight, Chase. It's a compliment I don't quite know how to take, or even comprehend. In fact, even standing feels difficult to grasp at the moment, and I find myself wobbling on my feet once he pulls back his hand. Lightheaded doesn't even begin to describe it. Dizzy, nauseous, about to barf, that's a more apt description. I stumble back and forth to keep myself upright, try clinging to the nearest flat surface, but it doesn't really help. The ground is moving underneath my feet. Where there were 2 people before, I now see 4, swaying from side to side as everything spins around me. It's like I'm out on a raft in the middle of the ocean. I think it kicked in. 20 minutes into the party and I'm already completely out of it. This is probably setting all sorts of party records. Is this what being high feels like? What the hell was in those things? Shit, Chase! I recognize her voice, but when I turn to look at Lana, she's just a blur. A featureless blob of red and white ever shifting. Chase, are you okay? What's wrong with him? Someone's tugging at my arm, but gravity's currently working against me in every way possible. Hold on, come on, get up. The moment I let go of that cabinet, I fall to the floor. Any moment now I'm going to sink through it. Where I'll end up, I don't know. My head hurts. My stomach hurts. The empty muffin liner is on the floor next to me. I can still make out the pink frills. Someone call 911! The despair in her voice is almost palpable. She takes a hold of my wrist. My hand just flops around once she moves. And get arrested? Fuck no. Fucking shit. I don't know what to do. What do I do? I want to comfort her, tell her that I'll be fine, even if it's a lie. But no sound comes out of my muzzle. I try to sit and push myself up off the ground, but my back just ends up hitting the floor again, followed by my ass. I hope I'm not being filmed right now. I just lay there. With my brain and body in complete disarray like this, there's no way I'm getting up anytime soon. And despite the screams, despite the loud music, despite everything, I feel my eyelids grow heavier and heavier. The world goes dark before my very eyes, and the last thing I think about before I'm out like a light is how comfortable the cold floor is. Damn. Chase? I return to the land of the living with a long gasp for air. The scent of very strong coffee fills my nostrils. As soon as I realize I have control over my body again, I thrash in the sheets, which only leaves me tangled once I settle down. My breathing is still harsh, uneven, but I'm okay. I'm okay. Sheets. I'm in a bed, not the floor. My paws shoot up to my eyes. I rub them before opening them. There's a lot of gross shit in them. I'd probably been out for quite a while. I can only imagine how bad I must be reeking right now. I'm still wearing the clothes I was wearing last night too. Fuck. The clock says it's just past 9. How I managed to get back here, I have no idea. When I try to think about what happened last night, my head just starts hurting more. Carl waltzes in like it's no one's business, wearing nothing but pajama pants that look a few sizes too big, even for him. There's a piece of toast in his mouth and 2 mugs of coffee in his paws. Ooh, you're up. Here, I made coffee. I can see that. Thanks, though. He sits down next to me, exhaling through his nostrils, just eating his toast. We made rules about only eating at the table, but right now, I'm just glad to be awake and in good health. I speak up once my mug's half empty. So what happened? How'd I get back here? Carl noisily swallows the last bits of toast. Well, a few guys and one girl dropped you off here a few hours after you left. A shit-eating grin slowly spreads across his face. You were completely zoned out, man. Talking about random shit and giggling like a kid. It was kind of funny to watch. I glare at him and fold my arms. I'm sure it was. I'm honestly just glad all I got from it was a headache. I might not be invited to future parties, but I'd rather have that than end up dead because I couldn't handle a muffin. I got you some water and put you in bed. He takes a large gulp of coffee and chuckles. See, I can be responsible sometimes. Sure. I set the mug down on the nightstand and wipe the rest of the sleep out of my eyes. God damn, I feel terrible. So, your turn to answer my question. He tucks his legs in like a kindergartner. What happened last night? Did you really get drunk or, you know? He mimics taking a drag from a cigarette. No. My shakily uttered denial is not the most convincing, but Carl doesn't seem to pick up on it. Thank God. Hell no, I had a couple too many, that's all. Even if you did try some, no fur off my back. I mean, look at me. I think I'm past just a little experimenting. I fall quiet. It's a bit awkward to admit to doing something I used to tease Carl for, especially when I fainted almost immediately after trying it. Maybe I'll tell him later, preferably when we're done with college, so it'll just be one of many escapades. I do hope future escapades won't leave me feeling this much like I got hit by a train, though. I finally sit up. God, my back's as stiff as can be. What have you been up to while I was out? Studying, believe it or not. That and laundry. I stack the 2 cups and stand up. Sorry, he stacks the 2 cups and stands up. I washed your stuff too. Should be done by the time you're done with your shower. You got a lecture to go to, right? Oh shit, yeah, the lecture. I bury my face in my paws and rub at my temples. I should be able to make it if I hurry. Looks like I woke up just in time, and surprisingly enough, I have Carl to thank for it. Hey, Carl? He turns around, nearly dropping one of his coffee cups. I shoot him a smile. Thank you. Want to play some more Claws of Destruction when I get back? You're on. Okay. I think that's all I'm going to do for tonight. Because those were way longer than I thought they'd be. So, yeah. Stay safe and have a good night.